Meeting tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, and at this time we will convene our Common Council meeting for Monday, March the 1st, 2021. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to introduce himself, beginning on my left.
Dave Harrison, Councilman, District 5.
Kevin Day, District 4.
James Kaufman, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Elizabeth Lamping, Council District 1.
Gary Hall, District 2.
Kara Ferguson, at large.
Buddy Templin, at large.
Robert Ferguson, District 3.
Thank you, Council. This evening, Council, the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by members of the Arrow of Light Den of Beech Grove Cub Scouts Pack 108. Come on up, guys. Please rise. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
This evening's invocation will be by Pastor Dan Bailey of the Circle of Hope Church on South 4th. Pastor?
You bow your heads, please. Lord, our most loving Father in heaven, Lord, we come to you, Lord, and ask that you bless this time that we have set aside. Lord, we ask that you give us wisdom from above. Help us, O Lord, to put aside our differences, Lord, and focus on how together we can bring your will into our community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Clerk.
Thank you, Pastor. Under special presentations, we have 4 this evening, and the first one is a moment of silence. We lost yet another longtime Beech Grove resident since we last met. Ron Alford passed away. Ron was very active in Little League Eagles, about anything imaginable that had to do with Beech Grove. So we think of his family this evening, and I ask for a moment of silence on his behalf, please. Thank you. We have a couple recognitions tonight. The first one is Max Comodo. Max, come on up with your coach. Max was the 285-pound weight class sectional champion at Southport this year. And on behalf of the city and the council, we would like to recognize him on this achievement. Congratulations, Max Comodo, 285-pound weight class, 2021 Southport sectional champion. Congratulations.
I'm really proud of the accomplishment Max had this year. Max was quarantined for contact tracing for 5 weeks this season. Imagine trying to get in shape and be a sectional champ, much more, bouncing back from season-ending knee surgery last year. So we had higher expectations, but he was in there doing what he had to do, and very proud of the effort that he put forward, and it was a pleasure coaching him through his career.
Yeah.
Max says he's good. The next recognition is for the Beech Grove High School boys junior varsity basketball team. These young men won the 2021 Indiana Crossroads Conference. So if you guys could come up with your coach, Larry. Come on up here in the middle so we can introduce you. Come on over, Larry.
All right.
These guys went undefeated in conference play this year, and the reserve team last year went undefeated. So that's quite an accomplishment. I blame it on the coach. But anyway, the city and the council wants to recognize the Beech Grove High School junior varsity basketball team for winning the 2021 Indiana Crossroads Conference. Congratulations, Coach.
Good job.
I'm good. I'm Larry Williams, the JV coach, assistant varsity coach. This is John Hart, JV assistant, varsity assistant. Just tell you a little bit about these guys here. I mean, these are great kids. Not only are they good basketball players, they're just phenomenal young men. They don't get in trouble in school. They work hard at it, and they have to get beat up every day against varsity. I mean, every single day. You got to know what JV's about. It's kind of tough being a JV player, you know, because you want to be out there with the varsity. And you know, some of their names have been called a little bit this year. Actually, DeMonte here, he's playing straight varsity right now. But these kids just work. They work and they never complain, and they just flat out just get after it. And we got sectionals tomorrow night, and they've been helping us prepare for that too. So, just a great group of kids. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm DeMonte.
Adrian Holler, Logan Lovewood, Connor Horsley, Skylar Decker. And we got a few that aren't here, of course. We had film tonight. We got preparing for sectionals tomorrow, so some of them couldn't make it. Had to go home and do homework and stuff. But we've got our core group here, so appreciate you guys having us.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Tell Mr. Hart, I used to give him a hard time, and all after you got out of school, I'll tell you, I followed your career and everything. I'm just glad you're back here. Thank you.
The last proclamation this evening is in observance of Vietnam Veterans Day. This time I'll ask the Daughters of the American Revolution to join me at the podium. Come on up. I'd like to read this into the record. Whereas legislation was passed in 2008 to declare March the 29th as National Vietnam War Veterans Day. The City of Beech Grove honors all military members deployed to support one of the longest conflicts in which our country has ever been involved in. And whereas we recognize the veterans of our armed forces who served our country in Vietnam as well as the sacrifices they made. And whereas our nation has learned much since its birth, no lessons as fundamental as the one learned after the Vietnam War, to support and respect our veterans and armed forces members. And whereas we shift our thoughts and prayers to the memories of the families of over 58,000 who never made it home. And whereas there is a profound sense of humanity in war that can be ignored in the safety of our day-to-day life. May we use this day to recall what was given by the men and women who fought in Vietnam and acknowledge who their sacrifices have impacted and will continue to impact lives across America. And whereas we see Vietnam veterans in our daily lives as parents, grandparents, in rural communities, and in the hearts of cities. Today, let us seek them out to express our deepest gratitude for what they surrendered for our freedom and that of South Vietnam. Now, therefore, I, Dennis B. Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, do hereby proclaim March the 29th, 2021 as Vietnam Veterans Day in the City of Beech Grove and encourage all citizens to join me in this worthy observance. There you go.
We're with the Daughters of the American Revolution. We promote a lot of the support of all of our military personnel, past and present. And the Vietnam veterans are near and dear to our heart because there are still so many Vietnam veterans that are still with us. So we just ask everyone to, if you see a vet, thank them. If you know of someone who's in need, a veteran, reach out, let them know that they're still very important in our lives in the community. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up this evening. That concludes special presentations. Reading of the minutes. Council, you have been given a printed copy of the minutes of the previous meeting dated February the 1st, 2021. The floor is open for any questions, comments, or corrections.
Jim, under my closing comments.
Yes, sir.
I made the comment about the Department of Public Works giving paid time to a police officer, and you have firemen.
Oh.
So, just for what it's worth, it's actually a police officer. Appreciate that.
Actually a firefighter. Yeah, it was a firefighter.
Was it fireman? Oh, someone sent me an email. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was a
Disregard
firefighter.
that.
No worries. You might have said that, but I, just from
Okay.
my memory, I knew what
Okay.
it was. So yeah, it was a firefighter.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
If there are no questions or comments, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same sign. Thank you, council. Councilor, public comments.
Yes, Ann Ottinger. Can you please state your address? You have 3 minutes.
2141 Man Drive. This is towards Jim Kaufman. I have questions.
This is a public comment, question and answer.
I have questions that I think need answered.
Okay, there's a form for you to do that. You send an email, or you can set up a meeting with him.
Well, I have all the information, so it's just everybody needs to know.
You may proceed.
Thank you. What was required to fill out for the city to receive the coronavirus fund reimbursement in your budget? What was required to be filled out?
I'd have to pull the forms out, but it was sent to us from Marion County. I don't have the forms in front of me to know what they're called.
But what kind of stuff did you have to give to them and
For the
for reimbursement of the coronavirus
I had to submit the claims and the receipts
on?
on what I was asked to get reimbursed for.
Okay. When you
I think James, your husband, or he asked for the whole, for all
Yes,
that.
I have it right here.
Okay.
Yeah. When you submitted the monies, how much was you reimbursed?
I look back, I don't have the numbers in front of me. It was more than $200,000.
Okay. How much of that money did you apply for? All of it?
200, whatever, yes.
Okay. Did you give 100% or did they give you 50%?
I applied for 100%.
Okay.
They gave me 100%.
Okay. Based on the monies that were filed for, were they resupplied dollar for dollar? Was everything resupplied?
Yes. Reimbursed?
No, resupplied. All your PPE
Resupplied.
that you,
No. Why would it be resupplied?
well, the coronavirus
It was
is still going
reimbursement.
on, so.
It was reimbursement.
Right, it was reimbursement, but you
reimbursed. need
need to resupply your supplies when they go out, correct?
That's not part of that program, no.
Okay. On the monies that were spent for PPE, they wasn't replenished then? Was they put back into where they belong?
Guess I'm gonna do it. It was paid out of the coronavirus fund.
It was paid out of budgets, out of your money, and then you got reimbursed for it. Did you put the money back in there where it belonged?
Yes.
Okay. Why was $4,086.72 taken out of the sewer account that was for the sanitation of all buildings?
Because that's where it was paid out of originally.
But why would you use sewer funds instead of the general fund? Because you've been taking money out of both.
That's where it was, so in order to get it reimbursed, that's where it was paid out of originally because it had multiple buildings on there.
Okay. Why did bingo supplies have to do with PPE?
They were plastic or either plastic or I have to talk to this director of the senior center. But they submitted that reimbursement for that because of the coronavirus. They couldn't use the paper ones that they had been using all along because they had to make sure that they could either wash them or throw them away.
Okay.
That was just what she submitted as. So I went to every department head and said, do you have any expenses that you purchased because of the coronavirus that follows these rules? And they said yes. So then they submitted them. So that's why I included in my.
I didn't think that daubers would be included, but okay.
Were there daubers on there?
3 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I have an extension. I only got a few more questions.
I mean, folks, again, this is.
I understand, but
We've lost the meeting. of
I'd be happy
public
to answer,
comments.
yeah.
We've lost the
Any of
meeting
these
of public
questions.
comment. This is a question and answer. I think it's inappropriate.
I don't think it's inappropriate. And I don't know why you're even talking to me if you're the city attorney.
Because I'm in charge of this part of the meeting.
Yeah,
May I have a little bit of an extension, 2 minutes, please?
Are you gonna do a public comment or are you gonna ask questions?
Okay, I'll do public comment, okay?
I haven't heard a motion.
Out of all the monies that were reimbursed were the PPE, bodysuits, and fire and ambulance service. There was none of them put into that. That was more important than daubers. Anyway, $153,361.82 of this money was used to upgrade the phone system and the computer system. Yeah, you guys got off on getting money from the government to upgrade everything.
All right, Ann, please.
How can the
please have-
U.S. citizens of Beech Grove trust that you are putting the best interest of them with using around 3/4 of this reimbursement for the total of a new upgrade? This is not wise spending. The citizens of Beech Grove needs to know how their money is spent. This is your paperwork I got all the information off of.
Please have a seat.
Thank you.
Dave Copenhaver? Can you state your address, Dave, please?
Before I begin, I'd like to ask for a favor. I'd like to have 1 minute to introduce myself and 3 minutes to give my speech. I've never got up and spoke here in the 3 years that I've been coming here, and I just want to introduce myself. Did I do that?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, my name is David Copenhaver. I live at 238 North 15th Avenue in Beech Grove. I was born and raised in Beech Grove. While I was at Beech Grove High School, I earned 8 varsity letters. I earned 3 school records and was the captain and the MVP of 2 teams for 2 years. I earned a bachelor's degree at Indiana University and a master's degree of science from National University. And I'm a graduate of the National Entrepreneurship Academy. I'm currently working on applying for my doctorate degree at Indiana University in informatics. I lived in San Diego, California for 20 years. While I served in the U.S. Coast Guard as an officer and worked at many dangerous areas, on the most active border in the United States, actually most active border in the world. A few years ago, I returned to Beech Grove, and I volunteered as a guest lecturer at my alma maters, Beech Grove High School and Indiana University, and I volunteered as a board of trustees for multiple sclerosis for many years. I volunteered with local government organizations, and I've always helped my neighbors, as most people in Beech Grove do. Since I've moved back to Beech Grove and bought a home in my old neighborhood, I've come to most of the city council meetings, or watch them on the internet, and I've appreciated how people in this room disagree and and on issues to manage our city while still having respect for each other and taking the time to hear each other's perspectives. And I've always been very, very proud of our city until last week. Last week in these chambers, during a workshop, Mayor Buckley embarrassed the entire city of Beech Grove, and he did it in front of Beech Grove and Indianapolis elected officials that work for the citizens in a building paid for by the citizens during an official meeting disguised as a workshop. Mayor Buckley's behavior was unprofessional, hostile, at the least, and was watched by people all over the internet and who called it intimidating and abusive. This was a public embarrassment and is another example of bullying. It speaks volumes about bullying since it was in a public setting and it was very targeted, and it deserves a public apology at the very least. Buckley, you violated the most sacred thing we have as citizens in Beech Grove, which is respect for each other. You've lost even more respect from the citizens of Beech Grove when you not allow a taxpayer, Anna, to speak as a member of the community. But then you immediately requested to have a different person from our community come up and speak, which was Mr. Mascari. Mayor Buckley, I just want to know, were you afraid of what Anna might say? Is that why you rudely censored her? I applaud Gary Hall, council member, for taking the time to ask the State of Indiana Public Access Counselor for advice on this matter. It was clear from the state of Indiana that they support hearing public opinion in a public meeting place with public officials regarding public safety issues. Last week when the letter was read from the Indiana Public Access Counselor as part of the official meetings of the workshop, Mayor Buckley, your comment was, it's not the law, so we're not doing it. Well, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure that the First Amendment of the United States of America applies to the city of Beech Grove. In closing, I want to remind everyone here of two things. All of you in front of this room were elected by the citizens of Beech Grove, and your salaries are paid by the citizens of Beech Grove. As a city council, you do not work for the mayor, you work for the citizens. Number two, Benjamin Franklin, very wise, once said, if you let people speak, eventually the truth will prevail. I'm sure the truth about this matter will prevail, especially when the citizens get to speak about, one, giving away valuable fire equipment and facilities that were bought with citizens' tax money, two, closing 50% of our firehouses and losing half of our firefighters while suggesting that citizens will get better service, and three, suggesting that the mutual aid agreement that we have had for many years between Beech Grove and City of Indianapolis Fire Departments is not working. Now, I'm asking for your respect. I'm going to stand silent here for 30 seconds, and I'm donating the remainder of my time to Mayor Buckley and ask that he use this precious time to apologize to Anna, the citizens of Beech Grove, and Indianapolis for his behavior in these chambers last week. I'll stand silent for 30 seconds. Mayor Buckley, the microphone is yours.
Anna Henry. State your address, ma'am.
Good evening, I'm Jane Henry, 701 Churchman Avenue, and I wasn't able to come to the meeting on the 25th regarding the workshop for the for the fire department. So I watched it a couple days ago and took a bunch of notes, and I do have some questions, and I don't know if it can be answered tonight or just think about it. I guess my first question is, I've been looking at the Indiana codes, and I don't see where there's a code written that says a city within Indiana, what the procedures are to put the fire departments together, or to annex them, I guess it's a word for it. I did see where there's an Indiana code for annexation, which just kind of describes somewhat of what we're going through, but that's more for cities and towns and getting together. Anyway, my other question is, I was looking at the 2020 budget, and I know during the meeting they were talking about how retirement plan 77 would not be included. That would be rolled over into the IFD department for their retirement. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, during the meeting, they mentioned that retirement fund 37 and 53 would continue getting their pension and insurance from Beech Grove. I was just wondering if you could tell me how many of those individuals there are in that pension plan. Okay. My other question is, currently, the 2020 fire department budget is, total is $3,955,205. I was wondering how much, I understand it's a big process to transfer all of our equipment and personnel over through IFD. What I don't understand, from what I'm gathering, we're going to continue paying IFD for fire department. I would think that would be taken out of our county taxes for either city or state or whatever it is. I know you said there's not a fire rating code right now in the books. I think the first year when this happens, because I have a feeling it will be happening, and I'm fine with it. I think they need to, I don't mind us paying them the $3 million that's in our budget for them because I know the budget of Indianapolis has already been passed, and I'm sure they didn't put that in their budget for this to happen. So I just want to, I hope as we go on forward with this, some of these questions can be answered. My other thought is, there's a lot of people that live here in Beech Grove that do not have internet. Is there any, I know Mayor Buckley's real good about putting letters in the South Side paper, informing people of things that are going on in Beech Grove, but not everybody gets that paper either. I only get one when I see it somewhere in public, at a restaurant or something. But I'm wondering if there's some way we could do a mailing to the citizens of Beech Grove to inform them that we're having a public meeting regarding this. That way nobody can say they weren't informed or I didn't know this was happening, because that's gone on too many times. And I feel like this is maybe more people would understand the process and why it's being done if that was the case.
I actually talked to Brent about that last week after the meeting about getting a mailer sent out
And I'm assuming
for more information.
Yeah.
Coming
I mean, just let them know, or put signs out saying, city meeting regarding IFD coming to Beech Grove. Put little signs out in the yard. You can put one in my yard. I don't care. But I just feel like people are not informed. I mean, my sister's lived here 20-some years. I know more about what's going on in this city than she does. And I'm telling them about stuff, and they have no idea. But, they have a son they're raising. They have other things that they're doing. So, they don't have probably time like a lot of other people do. But I would hope that when we did have this public meeting that the IFD representation would be there, which I'm sure they would be. I think that would be very helpful for them to hear us, and we can hear them. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to speak that has not signed up?
We'll move on to committee reports. The first report is police station update. Bobby or Chief?
The only update that I would have is that the RFQ has been advertised. A couple developers have reached out to me, and they are working on those, and those are due next Tuesday the 9th. And then we'll meet as a committee and go through them and try to push forward with that aspect.
What's up, RFQ?
RFQ,
RFQ, yeah.
request for qualifications.
What does that mean?
It means that the developers that are interested in working with us will send us projects that they've done.
Okay, so different, okay. I got
Their
it.
actual
Bids.
qualification.
Are they doing bids then?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just qualification
Okay,
to build the police department.
okay, thank you.
I'll add to that real quick. I have been having talks with Jim Kaufman about the finances about this. And right now, we're kind of in a holding pattern until we get the RFQs back, and then we'll sit down with the RFQs, Jeff Peters, and we'll also look at the funding for all this with the committee, once we get the RFQs back. It's kind of hard to work on the funding and look at what that picture is going to look like until we have that information back with us.
Any updates, Chief, on locations? Any good or bad?
Yeah, I have reached out to a couple owners. Told them that it was real preliminary, just to see if they would even be willing to sit down. And so far, it's been positive on the one spot that I'm really interested in. And the others, I'm not worried about. Either the city owns or we've gotten positive feedback in the past. So. But that is the next big step, is to get the location so that the developers can, the one we go with can actually bid it properly.
And have we spent any monies yet for consultants or anything yet, just for the record? No? Good, thank you.
No, sir. Anything else?
Thank you.
The ABC has approved up to 4 Beech Grove renewals, Rustic Root, Moose Lodge, the Grove Tavern, Wings, etc. on South Emerson. And although Chipotle's is not in Beech Grove, that was renewed, that was approved this morning. So a total of 5. RDC, Liz.
Yes, the RDC met in these chambers on Thursday, February the 18th. We had a 4-to-1 approval of assistant with 3 projects. Those, if you want me to repeat what they are: repaving Main Street from 13th to 17th, helping with drainage improvements, Garstang shaft area, and then installation of LED lighting to replace traditional lighting in city streets. Mr. Tim Showalter did a very nice presentation about an idea that he had for just some inspiration for the city, and that would be, he was talking to us about potentially having like a statue of Steve McQueen, just because of his birth at St. Francis Hospital. So we kind of shuffled around some ideas and gave him some tips on how we could, he could find assistance with this project, and it was pretty informative. And that's all. Thank you.
The Compliance Division, you should have a report from those folks. Greenscape did not meet, and the final one this evening is Financial. Jim?
Good evening. City Hall remains closed to the public. Permits are still being received and processed. Citizens can pay their sewer bills online, by phone, mail, or by dropping their payment off in one of the 2 24-hour drop boxes. The sewer bills were sent out last Friday. The March bill includes the trash and sewer rate increases that were passed in 2020. The 2020 annual financial report has been submitted on Gateway. This is a summary of city finances for the entire year. It was also advertised in the Indianapolis Star on February 25th. The final lease payment on the DPW and Parks vehicles was paid last month. Department heads report that these vehicles are still in great working condition. The bank account balances are listed below as of today, March 1st, 2021. These totals are prior to the claims that were approved earlier this evening. City Corporation, $2,826,127.18. Criminal Investigation Fund, $34,318.54. RDC General, $349,624.44. And RDC Debt Service, $240,000. The sewer utilities bank account has a current balance of $1,425,377.72. There have been questions about the current balance, so I'll break it down for clarity. The current balance includes the stormwater fund, which has a balance of $237,379.35. The council, mayor, myself, and many citizens would like to see the city become less dependent on the sewer to fund other city services. In 2019, Clerk Treasurer McMillan knew there was not enough money to make the complete ROI transfer, therefore only 50% was transferred. In 2020, I transferred the remaining portion of the ROI for 2019. I have not transferred any ROI from the sewer to the corporate for 2020. The total payment is $706,892. As of today, it is not needed, but I will make the transfer when it is. The sewer account will have to fund the $250,000 match for the Okra grant later this year. With the ROI transfer and the local match, the sewer account is not much different than it was 1 year ago. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Respectfully submitted, James Kaufman.
Thank you.
Well, I thank you for putting in the city will become less dependent. I think that's fixing our time.
Yeah, and that's our goal. I know that's a lot of people's goals. So,
Yeah.
like I said, it's there. If I feel the general fund needs it, I can make that transfer anytime. But so it does look a little higher, but it's because of that. So if you take out that 706 that should have been transferred last year, we're back to where we were a year ago. So,
Thank you.
no problem. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jim. That completes committee reports. We'll move to unfinished business carried over from the previous meeting. General Ordinance Number 1, 2020 is up for approval on second reading only. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to read the ordinance in its entirety in the record, please.
There you go. General Ordinance Number 1, 2021. General Ordinance Number 1, 2021 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 112 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove concerning amusement machines and master vendor licenses. Whereas certain businesses in Beech Grove have amusement machines located on their property for public use, and whereas the vending company may provide those machines for individual businesses, and whereas the police chief or his designee has to inspect the operation of the amusement location to ensure operations are within the law, and whereas the current ordinance concerning licenses is extremely outdated and needs to be replaced. Therefore, be it affirmed that the Common Council desires to amend Chapter 112 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove. Now therefore be it further affirmed that the Common Council desires the following actions take place. Delete Chapter 112 of the Code of Ordinances in its entirety and replace with the following. Chapter 112, Amusement Licenses. Amusement Licenses. 112.01, Definitions. 112.02, Unlawful Acts. 112.03, Licenses. 112.04, Application for License. 112.05, License Fee. 112.06, Regulations concerning operation. 112.07, Investigation of applicant prior to issuance of license. 112.08, Reports of violations. 112.09, Term of license. 112.99, Penalty. Cross reference, admission of violation and payment of fines to Ordinance Violations Bureau. See Chapter 39. Vendor amusement license and permits. 112.01, Definitions. For the purpose of this chapter, the following definition shall apply unless the context clearly indicates or requires a different meaning. Amusement location. Any public room or area containing 5 or more amusement machines, and the room or area is not under the jurisdiction of the Indiana State Alcohol Beverage Commission, or is maintained by, for the benevolent, religious, educational, civic, patriotic, fraternal, or philanthropic organization or purpose. Amusement machine. Any machine or device designed or modified to be operated by any coin, coins, or token, or for which charge is made for the operation thereof, excluding pool tables or billiard tables. The purpose or function of which is to provide music or amusement in public places. Master vendor, the owner of a business and or a person, corporation, or entity who sells, leases, or rents any amusement machine, whether on his own behalf or for another, within the City of Beech Grove. 112.02, Unlawful Acts. A, it shall be unlawful to allow to be operated in any public place more than 5 amusement machines without a master vendor license issued by the City of Beech Grove. B, it shall be unlawful for any exhibitor to permit a minor under the age of 18 years of age to play an amusement machine on the premises of the exhibitor's place of business, unless the minor child is accompanied by his parent or legal guardian. Licenses. 112.03 licenses. A, it shall be unlawful for any person, corporation, or entity to act as a master vendor without a master vendor's license issued by the City of Beech Grove. A master vendor's license shall not be transferable. B, licenses shall be posted in a common area for inspection by the police department or the Department of Compliance. 112.04, application for master vendor license. A, the application for a master vendor's license to operate an amusement location shall contain the following information and be signed individually under penalties of perjury for false information on the application. 1, name the applicant and if a partnership or corporation, the state in which organized. 2, home address of applicant. 3, the age of the applicant. If an individual of all partners, if the applicant is a partnership or joint venture, or the manager and officers, if the applicant is a corporation. 4, the street address of the premises to be licensed. 5, the location and time and duration of any other amusement location operated by the applicant, presently or at any previous time, and whether such license was revoked. B, the application for a master vendor's license shall be made in such form and contain such information as the City of Beech Grove may prescribe. 112.05 license fee. A, the annual license fee for each master vendor's license shall be $75. B, license shall be good for a period of 1 year, effective April 1st of every year. C, fees shall not be charged to not-for-profit organizations, fraternal organizations, religious, educational, civic, patriotic, or philanthropic organizations. 112.06, regulations concerning operation. A, all amusement locations shall be kept in a clean, healthful, and sanitary condition at all times. The chief of police or his assigned subordinate shall have the authority to determine if the room is kept in a sanitary condition, and for such purpose, when desired, shall have the assistance of the Department of Compliance. If the chief of police determines after investigation by himself or his subordinate or the Department of Compliance that an unsanitary condition exists within an amusement location or on property immediately adjacent to the amusement location, which property is under the control of the amusement location owners or their lessee or lessor, the chief of police shall have the authority to suspend the amusement location license for the premises until the unsanitary condition is rectified. No license under this chapter shall permit persons to congregate in a disturbing manner or to commit unlawful acts within the amusement location. 112.07, investigation of applicant prior to original issuance of a license. A, the chief of police or his designated subordinate before the issuance of a license shall investigate the character of the applicant and the officers or general manager of the business. Such licenses shall have the owner, manager, or resident agent listed on the application. The license may be denied by the chief of police upon the findings that any of the persons named in the application have previously been convicted of a felony, connected with any amusement location where the license has been revoked, or where any of the provisions of the law applicable to him have been violated, or if the amusement location does not comply in every way with the ordinances and laws applicable thereto. All employees of the license shall be 18 years of age or older. If an application is denied, the applicant of such permit shall be notified in writing of the reason for rejection and shall have the right to appeal to the Board of Public Works and Safety. 112.08, reports of violation. A, shall be the duty of every police officer and all persons designated by the chief of police to make frequent inspections of all such amusement machines, and if any gaming, improper, or unlawful practices are observed in the use thereof, report the same to the chief of police for proper action, who thereupon may recommend to the Board of Public Works and Safety proceedings to revoke the licenses in accordance with the provisions of this chapter. 112.09, terms of license. The annual license fee for amusement machines shall be for the period of 1 year beginning on April 1st, 2021. 112.95, refusal to grant master vendor's license. The police chief may refuse to grant license approval for the following reasons. A, if the applicant has been convicted of a felony or any violation of federal or state laws relating to intoxicating liquors, narcotic drugs, or disorderly or immoral conduct, or if the applicant is reputed or known to be a person of bad character in any respects. 112.99. Penalty. A, whoever violated any provisions of the ordinance shall be fined not less than $100 nor more than $250 for each offense. In addition thereto, any subsequent permits may be revoked or denied if found guilty in the city court. Now therefore be it affirmed that the Common Council desires to amend Chapter 112 of the Code of Ordinances for the city of Beech Grove. Now therefore be it further affirmed that this ordinance only applies to Chapter 112 of the Code of Ordinances and no other chapter. Now therefore be it further affirmed that this ordinance shall take effect 30 days after passage by the Common Council, signed by the President Pro Tem, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor.
Thanks, Jim. General Ordinance Number 1, 2021 is up for approval on second reading only. At this time, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make said motion to approve General Ordinance Number 2, 2021 on second read.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Thank you.
Ask you to read it one more time.
I know, right?
General Ordinance Number 1, 2021 is up for approval on third and final reading. This time, I'll entertain a motion to read by title only.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
We'll begin on my left, Dave.
Title only.
Title only.
Title only.
Title only.
Title only.
Title only?
Title only.
Thank you, council. I'll ask the clerk to read General Ordinance Number 1, 2021 into the record by title only on third reading.
General Ordinance Number 1, 2021. General Ordinance Number 1, 2021 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 112 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove concerning amusement machines and master vendor's license.
Jim has read it into the record on third and final reading by title only. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve on third and final reading, General Ordinance Number 1, 2021.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Please register your vote. Thank you. Thank you. General Ordinance Number 2, 2021 is up for approval on second reading only. This time I'll ask the clerk to read the ordinance in its entirety.
General Ordinance Number 2, 2021. General Ordinance Number 2, 2021 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 150 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove concerning fees assessed by the city for construction services and permits. Whereas there is a big push by cell companies to expand broadband capabilities throughout central Indiana, and whereas the Indiana State Legislature has granted approval for cell companies to install freestanding small cell phone towers throughout Indiana, And whereas local units of government have their hands tied as to where these small cell towers can be installed. And whereas residents of local communities have become very concerned about this, and the authority granted to cell companies to encroach right-of-ways and easements. Now therefore be it affirmed that the Common Council desires to amend Chapter 150 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove concerning permit fees. Now therefore be it further affirmed that the Common Council desires the following section be inserted into Chapter 150 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove. Add the following, Chapter 150.083, Small Cell Towers, Section A, Permits. 1. A permit is required by the City of Beech Grove for each individual cell tower installation. Fees are as follows. A. Small cell towers, $250. B. Modification to an existing tower, $100. An inspection fee of $75 shall be charged for the inspection of the installation for each individual small cell tower. Now therefore be it affirmed that the Common Council desires that this fee structure be added to Chapter 150 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove. Now therefore be it further affirmed that this ordinance only applies to Chapter 150 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove and no other ordinance. Now therefore be it further affirmed that this ordinance goes into effect immediately after approved by the Common Council, signed by the Council President Pro Tem, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. General Orders Number 2, 2021 is up for approval on second reading only. This time I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make said motion to approve General Ordinance Number 2, 2021.
A second?
I'll second it.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance Number 2, 2021 is up for approval on third and final reading this evening. This time I'll entertain a motion to read by title only.
I'll make a motion that we read General Ordinance Number 2, title only, third reading.
I'll second.
Begin on my left, Dave.
Title only.
Title only.
Only titled.
Title only.
Title only.
Title only.
Title only.
Thank you, council. I'll ask this time for the clerk to read General Ordinance Number 2, 2021 into the record on third reading by title only.
General Ordinance Number 2, 2021. General Ordinance Number 2, 2021 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 150 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove concerning fees assessed by the city for construction services and permits.
Thank you, Jim. General Ordinance Number 2, 2021 is up for approval on third and final reading this evening. This time I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make said motion to approve and set in third read.
Motion and a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Please register your vote. Thank you.
Silver bandage.
That concludes our unfinished business. Under new business, we have one item, and I'll defer to the clerk.
Yes, we have, get to it. We have one, uniform conflict of interest form provided from the new RDC member, Matthew Kochivar. It was approved at their meeting last month. We just have to approve it tonight so I can upload it on the gateway. So Matthew Kochivar, RDC member.
Any questions from the council? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Uniform Conflict of Interest Disclosure Form for Matthew Kochevar.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Thank you, council. That concludes new business. Council comments, beginning on my left. Dave?
Thank you, everyone, for coming, and again, congrats to the Beech Grove wrestler Max Commandant. The Vars JV team. For years, we've been competitive in wrestling for many years. Basketball, maybe not so, but for the last few years, it's been very competitive. And what I see with the 7th and 8th grade teams and this JV team, Beech Grove is going to be competitive in basketball for a few years to come. To me, I've said it before, it was like a new thing for me to start going to basketball games the last 3 years. I wish I could have made some more this year, but the kids that's played for years at the high school, especially last year's team, I followed those kids for 3 or 4 years. They were just a super bunch of kids. And I think we'll have a lot of that in the future. And that's all I have.
I just want to thank everybody for coming, and a big shout out to our DPW crews for the way they handled the big snow we had. That's all I got.
On this Vietnam Veterans Day, I'd like to acknowledge 3 of my 6 brothers, Ben and Bob Rogie of Tell City, Army, Bernie Rogie, Air Force of Tell City. All 3 of my 6 brothers all served during Vietnam. I love my brothers.
I'd just like to take a second and express my condolences to the Alford family. Mr. Alford, way back in the day, was my coach. Taught me to throw the curveball. Real good guy. He did everything for the community, and I know he has a large family, so if there's anything the city could do on behalf of the city, just a great family. Thank you.
I'd just like to thank all the citizens that had reached out to me personally about the questions with the fire department coming up. I really appreciate hearing from people and hearing their questions and their concerns. So I really enjoy seeing that. So if people still want to send those in, I would be more than happy to entertain those questions and try to get some answers.
I just want to thank everybody that participated, whether you were special presentation or spoke, and our folks from the troop up here for the Pledge of Allegiance. I want to make a comment. I hope it doesn't come across wrong, but serving on the council is to me is an honor. It can be frustrating, and I'm not questioning anybody else's love for the community. My family came to Beech Grove like 1908. I've never lived anywhere else. When we used to go anywhere, my dad would always say, you say you're from Beech Grove, and if they don't know where it is, start drawing a map. You don't use Indianapolis as a comparison, because his ability his desire for independence in this community was so important. And so I lived through a lot of that era where a lot of pride in not only in the community, of course, those days you got to know everybody here. And I know many people that are here, people who everyone speaks, everybody's here, loves this community, but once in a while, I never have said it when it had council comments, so I just wanted to say it today. What goes on in Beech Grove, I wear it on my sleeve, and I might not make always the right choices. With that being said, too, I just want to follow up on Ron Alford, as you mentioned. I know that dealt with him in Little League, and with Dave Harrison as well. When I say dealt with him, Ron would give us a hard time and then walk away with a big laugh when he was our league rep. But he was just a fantastic person for this city, and he'll be missed. That's all.
Okay.
First, I'd like to thank all the citizens that came and spoke. I'm a big believer in we need as much public input as we can, and I support them at all meetings that we have. And especially for Dave, for his comments that he made, I will say that publicly I was a little disappointed after our workshop, mainly because of the lack of structure that we had to it, and also the lack of information that was given out at it. That was a little disappointing to me. I was really hoping to get more of my questions answered, and those weren't provided to us. So I hope that if we do decide to move forward as a council for the public hearing, that all those questions can be answered. And I know that I have reached out to Brent, the fire union representative, and we've talked about getting something put out to the public to help educate them from the fire department side of it. And Jane, I want to thank you for your questions. Great questions. Those are a lot of my same questions that I asked. So hopefully we get all those answers so we can make a very sound decision for the citizens of Beech Grove. That's what I have. Thank you.
Couple of announcements. We are once again a tree city. This is over 10 years now. In your packet, council, you should have had the RFQ from the police department for your viewing. Our latest gas bill was $68,900. And if you're up on the north side in District 1, they've closed 17th Street from Detroit to Southern to install a water line for a new construction project up there, the 5 doubles they're building. So those are all going on. It will be closed until at least Wednesday. But they've been pretty good about getting it done and getting the road back open. And you should have received an email concerning the sewer rates are for treatment fees over the next 5 to 6 years. You should have taken a look at that. That's all I have. Motion to adjourn.
Make said motion.
I'll second.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.